Just really quick to give you our objectives. Our first one is to let you know how OCD affects daily functioning. It's not a here or there or funny thing like Michelle said. It's definitely something that consumes your life. Second, we're going to discuss how it affects your loved ones and your family members. And then lastly, the appropriate therapy and support system. So I'm going to start really with the early signs. I was a typical teenage boy. I remember I never washed my hands after going to the bathroom. I didn't understand why people did. I would go to bed and wake up and whatever my hair looked like, I'd go to school like that. I always did the 2-sniff test. If I sniffed my shirt twice and it didn't make me cringe, it was clean enough to wear. So when OCD hit, it was really a surprise. I had dealt with some mental illness before that, but never OCD. And as I hit my senior year in college, I remember I had done it. My mom did something for me that I wanted to thank her back for, and I asked her what could I do, and she said clean the house. And she, meant pick up some things here or there. Well, I started cleaning the house, and something snapped in my head, and pretty soon I couldn't stop. I was cleaning under couches. I was cleaning the cracks where the ceiling and the floor hit. I was ceiling and floor, the wall and the floor. I was cleaning every inch of this house to make sure that it was spotless. I started feeling like I had to wash my own stuff. I didn't want other hands to touch my towels and my clothes. I started locking my doors so people wouldn't come in my room and touch, my towels or anything. I was taking such long showers in our bathroom that I actually caused mold to start forming, and even worse, the whole floor got wet from, our showers, and the water was seeping, and it started damaging the floor. My mom actually had to hire someone to come in and refurbish the whole entire floor. Also, in the hallway, there was a mirror, full-length mirror, and the door would open up, and I put all my bathroom supplies there because I felt like it was safe and no one would touch them. The only problem is when I'd open that door, that's where my mom's clothes were, and she couldn't get to her clothes to get to work, and the door would kind of block my sister's room, and she couldn't get out. But I would force them to be hostage. Either my sister couldn't get in or out of her room, and my mom couldn't get her clothes because my brain just told me I had to do this. I couldn't finish until I was done, and it didn't really bother me if, they were suffering.
Yeah, these were Chris's teenage years. This is a picture of Chris at birth.
That's kind of cute.
You never invite mom without a baby picture. But, your baby's born, and he's got all the fingers and toes, and you think, it's done. He's perfect, everything's great. And you don't think further along. This is what we call our OCD picture. Chris loved cars. He had hundreds of them, and he lined them up, so we decided maybe this was his first find. Of course, we didn't realize at the time. Again, looking like a normal kid, never suspected a thing. He was, soon after this, spending time at recess combing his hair instead of playing. I never knew, none of the teachers ever pointed out that there was something strange about Chris, so I kept thinking everything was great. And this was one of his teenage pictures when he started becoming less than fun. And he mentioned about the mirror. Well, I just thought he was trying to annoy his sister. What a great way to get his sister mad every single day. And it never occurred to me that there would be anything else. When he insisted the lights had to be down low, which of course now we know was because he thought that he looked better in lights. He hasn't mentioned yet that he also has BDD, body dysmorphic disorder, and that was really hitting him at a young age. Or he had to have the noise level down. That was disturbing inside his brain. We really characterized him as just selfish, and I probably called him that 100 times while he was growing up.
And even though I knew that it was affecting them, the OCD always won. And at the point I didn't know that I had OCD. I just thought that this was literally things that I had to do, and it was just normal for me. OCD hadn't gotten to the point of really truly affecting my life at that point, but I saw a special on toxic mold, and as you know, the media loves to blow everything up, so pretty soon the whole world was going to die of toxic mold, and because I had mold on the bathroom from my long showers, I was convinced that the house was slowly killing me and I had to move out. Looking back, I didn't care if you and my sister died. I had to be out. You guys could stay there, but I had to get the hell out of there. So I moved out with a friend, and we moved into an apartment, and if you know the dynamics of Orange County area, my mom lives in like Lakewood, Long Beach area, and I moved all the way to Fullerton, which is about 45 minutes south towards San Diego direction in upper Orange County. When I moved there, it was the honeymoon at first. Nothing was wrong, everything was perfect, the little problems that I had were gone. Well, pretty soon, everything started to be a problem. We had hard water, so when we would turn on the water was a little cloudy. So I bought those Brita filters for every single faucet in the house. Well, I couldn't buy one for the shower, and so I felt dirty after taking a shower. So I started driving in the middle of the night when my mom was asleep, 45 minutes all the way back to Lakewood, showering at her house, because now that I wasn't showering there anymore, they fixed the mold. Leaving her house after getting ready and driving back home in the middle of the night, so an hour and a half round trip. Then I would wait for her to go to work the next day, drive 45 minutes, get ready, and drive back because the house felt better than my place. My work and my school was literally 5 minutes away from me, so I was driving an hour and a half out of the way, and I was waking up at crazy hours, always trying to figure out when she was gone because I didn't want her to think, that I was trying to move back in or anything. Pretty soon, that house became bad to me. I remember I bought spoiled milk from a grocery store near the street, and now the whole city had spoiled food, and I couldn't eat here anymore. So we ended up moving, my roommate and I, to a house in Huntington Beach, and once again, I had that amazing honeymoon period where everything was magical, rainbows and fairy dust, but pretty soon everything started to get out of control again, and this time even worse. My roommate got a job where her schedule was opposite of mine, so I almost never saw her. We were like, two shits in the night, so I had no one around me to really regulate what I was doing, and pretty soon anything my OCD told me I gave into. One of the biggest things I was doing is every single day, I had saved up about $20,000 from working since I was 15. I was about 18, 19 at this age, and it got to the point where I could only use things once. So for instance, if I was going to do laundry, I would buy a Tide, and I felt that because I poured the Tide over my dirty clothes in the laundry, in the washer, the dirty clothes vapors would go up and would go into the laundry detergent. Now my laundry detergent was contaminated and I had to throw it away, so I was buying laundry detergent every day. And if you don't know, laundry detergent isn't cheap. It's like $10 for a bottle. I was sending every person that worked for Tide's kids to college, I swear, because I was buying that stuff every day. I could only use, hand soap once a day because my hands were dirty touching it, and I would wash my hands, and now the soap was dirty. I was buying towels every day. I was buying new clothes every day because I felt washing wasn't good enough anymore. So it got to the point where I was spending a couple $100s a day, and I would just see my money deplete, which would cause me to be more anxious. It started to get to a point where if I felt contaminated, I would get in my car, I would drive to a car wash place and I would wash the outside of my car, and then I would literally vacuum every last inch of my car, including the glass, and I would even vacuum myself. So people would stare at me at the car place, but the OCD had such a hold on me that I would rather be uncontaminated than care what other people thought of me. It got to a point where I had to drop out of school. I was no longer going to classes, I wasn't attending. I was barely hanging on at work. The only thing keeping me at work was the money because I was so afraid I was going to start losing the money that was buying all these items. And pretty soon I was spending 16 hours a day, cleaning and giving into the OCD, and if I did leave, it was work, and for about 3 years there, it really did feel housebound. If I did go to the grocery store to buy new cleaning items now, I would go at 2, 3 in the morning so I wouldn't have to see people. This is when I was lying a lot and hiding things, and I wasn't doing it because I didn't want people to know what I was doing. It was more so I was afraid somebody would step in and try to stop me, and that was one of my biggest fears. I was hiding, I was isolated. At this point, I had no friends, no family, no one, no interaction. And I think what was worse is I started losing touch with reality. My mind started going really weird places now when I look back, places that just, the things that my brain, cities became contaminated, states became contaminated. I really became housebound and stuff, and I think the hardest thing was before then, even though I had my rough times with my family during high school, I always knew that I could go to them if something was wrong, but I became so withdrawn that I completely lost the relationship with my sister and my mom.
And Chris was, before this, quite a normal kid. He went to about 4 different proms. He has no idea what these girls' names are anymore, but a couple of them. And he was very good at hiding, though, very good. And as he said, he'd lost touch. What was I thinking at the time? He's 18, 19, he's living on his own. Wow, I've done a great job. My kid's not going to be 30 living at home. I must be a great parent. And he didn't call home, but he's 19, he's a boy, he doesn't want to talk to his mom, that's okay. And if I did talk to him, everything was great, everything's fine, wonderful, oh yeah, my job, school's great, everything's great. So I assumed he was being independent, and I was letting him grow up. Mental illness never crossed my mind, not one sign. I can't think of any time until he came to tell me that mental illness ever came into my mind, that there might be something wrong. Very good at covering it up, extremely good. It's really amazing that he could live 3 years and not have any idea what was going on.